And yo, guess what's going on? The Sports Bag Bros podcast is on, and it's a special World Series edition as the Los Angeles Dodgers repeat as baseball's champions. What's good?
What's happening, man? I don't think overall it was a great series, but it turned out in game 7, man, that was nip and tuck. I was hotly contested, went to extra innings. You can't ask for a better game 7 than that. It's just unfortunate the Blue Jays didn't capitalize on opportunities they had. I think they left 13 or 14 men on base. They had the lead going into the top of the ninth, and Shane Bieber came in and gave up a home run to Will Smith to tie it.
And just when they were speaking nicely about him, saying what he had done, coming back from Tommy John, trying to set the table and give him an opportunity to walk it off at any point, whether through a home run or just crossing the plate and getting the run, holding down the fort, and then boom, that's it. It just goes out of the park. And I'm already on record as saying I didn't watch the World Series from the first game up until just yesterday. I watched it, and then today, being out all day and falling asleep and catching college football, but waking up when it mattered, though. I woke up when it mattered, and it was that kind of a game. And the Reds, you say the Red Sox, whatever, but the Dodgers. Well, I'm not giving credit. Yeah, give the Blue Jays credit, but give the Dodgers credit for being able to come back on the road with that format, being the better team and still playing on the road, and they close it out on the road. It's disappointing. I know for Toronto fans, I was kind of torn. Do you root for some team from Toronto, or do you root for the Dodgers? And of course, I don't want to root for the Dodgers or anything LA, and it ends up being what it is. But a whole lot packed into that, a lot of nail-biting moments, including Vlad's pull to left field just before this thing ended.
Right. So, I said baseball is about stories. Mm-hmm. And look at this World Series, the stories. Yamamoto pitched yesterday. He threw like close to 100 pitches, and he comes in and shuts it down for the Dodgers. I mean, that's a fucking story. I can't remember. They mentioned Randy Johnson did it. He pitched game 6. He came back, pitched an inning in the third. I mean, that's incredible. But Randy Johnson, all-time great. Yamamoto, he could be an all-time great. That dude has like 7 or 8 pitches, and he came in and he did the job. You know, early, I don't fault Ohtani for giving up the home run to Bichette. He gave up a 3-1 run shot. I think it was the third, maybe the fourth inning. And at that point, you know, the crowd's going crazy. I'm like, man, it looks like it would be fun as hell to watch a game in Toronto. But there's a lot of baseball to be played after the third or fourth inning. And I knew 3 runs wasn't enough. But, you know, people are going to say, oh, Ohtani gave up the 3-run shot to Bichette. But that was his first time going on 3 days rest. And if you've never done something like that before, you know, I can't hold that against him. I can't say Ohtani, oh, he choked. He gave up the 3-run home run. He's doing something he's never done before. And he's playing and he's batting. You know, back in the day when pitchers pitched, they didn't have to bat. They just pitched and then they rested. He has to bat. He was 2 for 5, I think, tonight. So he has to run the bases. You know, when he's pitching, he gets on base. He's got to run the bases. He's not a normal pitcher. So coming back on 3 days rest, he gives up the 3-run shot to Bichette. Okay, it happens. Bichette, he's a hell of a player. So
yeah, he is.
I'm not gonna downgrade Ohtani. You know, if he had given up 7 runs and 2 in the third, okay, Ohtani didn't have it tonight, but he made one mistake.
He made one mistake, and that's what it takes in a World Series. And allegedly, by this time of year, the 2 best teams are the ones going at it. So a home run by a good player like Bichette, yeah, it's possible, did happen. But as you're saying, this is a game 7. And I know the NHL talks about their game 7s, and they're right most of the time. A game 7 in the NHL is like better than any game 7, but this is the one. All hands on deck, and you're talking about pitchers that came back from yesterday. yesterday, man.
Right.
And normally when they say all hands on deck, you're just thinking that dude is going to come in there, he's sucking it up, he's just going to put in his third of an inning or maybe even an inning at most. This dude did 3 innings. And you saw in the beginning, he didn't really have it because his pitches were light, throwing 90 miles an hour, 92 miles an hour. Then he hit that 97. I was like, man, what's going on? And the soreness is still there. After each game, you put the ice pack on your shoulder. The soreness is there. It didn't go away. He fought through it, pitched masterfully, and now they get the MVP. Oh, he might get the MVP for this and for doing what he's done, but they get another World Series. I think their 23rd appearance in a World Series, but I believe the 9th one they won. They're still like, I think they're like 9-13 or 9-14, somewhere like that. And I think it's 9-14 in all World Series, but it doesn't matter. The last 2 they seem to own, and they have a third one they had a couple of years ago. So they had 3 World Series like the last 6 years. The Dodgers are putting it together. And talk about the payroll all you want. That's what baseball seems to be about. But when you see teams like Toronto without the payroll still there with them and putting up the game they put up, it's not even all about the payroll. It's about the team you put together, the players you have, and what kind of chemistry and heart those guys can put together when they need it most. And Toronto fell a little short, but they hung in there. And this team, core-wise, looked like they may have something to say next season too.
Well, it's not like the Blue Jays have a $90 million payroll. They have, I think they're 5th or 6th in the league. They pay their guys. They have a high payroll. But what the Dodgers are doing and what I disagree with is all the deferred payments that they're doing to Ohtani and whatnot.
He requested it. He actually requested it. Because of the endorsements that he made.
Well, if he requested it, but I'm sure he knows that would hamstring them in signing other ball players.
Mm-hmm.
They may not have been able to sign Yamamoto if he doesn't defer his money. So that's where I have a problem with. A lot of people hate the Dodgers. They're spending money. I wish my owner would spend money. I'm not hating the Dodgers for that. But when you start to manipulate things and circumvent the system with deferred money, they gave Ohtani $800 million, but he's only getting paid like $13 million this year.
Yeah, this year.
You know what I'm saying? Like, pay the man his money. You can say, yeah, it was his idea, but come on, man, it's just not right. And I was going for the Blue Jays, but I think the Dodgers winning is better overall for baseball because maybe now they'll really consider a salary cap.
No, I doubt it because the luxury tax brings in so much money to kind of dispense upon the so-called lesser teams out there, and they're going to like that because they can still get paid and still not perform. It's almost like baseball and football when they were talking about years ago or even not too recently before Joe Burrow of how the Cincinnati Bengals have no incentive or the Cleveland Browns have zero incentive to get any better because they know they're still going to get paid regardless because of revenue sharing and so forth. Baseball, it would be better with a salary cap because it would take a lot.
I think like if you look at it, no team has repeated since 2000.
The Yankees, yeah.
And now the Dodgers have repeated. And back then, yeah, the Yankees spent money, but they had a core of good young players
from the farm
who were getting better. Mm-hmm. Jeter and those guys, Bernie Williams. It wasn't them going out. Well, you know what? What do we miss? Oh, let's go get the best player in baseball. We got him. Oh, let's go get this Japanese pitcher. Nobody can hit him. Let's get him. That's what the Dodgers doing. They're just picking and choosing. What do we need? What do we need? And you look at that rotation. They had like 7 guys who could be number ones on other teams.
And a washed-up Kershaw who closed it out if he needs to. Right. Last time.
But I just hope that people don't remember this World Series for that lodged ball in the wall.
Yeah.
Because Game 7 had nothing to do with that. The Blue Jays had opportunities to win that game still with that lodged ball. But I must say, I think it's a dumb rule. It is a dumb rule. When 90% of the ball is sticking out of the wall and the guy can grab it with ease, that's not a dead ball.
He completely went 100%.
It's not like Wrigley Field with the ivy and you can't see the ball. You got to dig in there and find it. That's a dead ball. You don't know where the ball is. You got to find it. That ball is sticking out 90%. The dude reaches down and grabs it. Mark DeRosa on the MLB network has a video saying he's explaining, yes, I know it's the rule. It was the right call. I just don't agree with the rule. They should make an amendment to it. When the ball can be grabbed without any obstruction, it's not a dead ball. And you got people saying, somebody told me on Facebook earlier, well, the ball didn't bounce back, so the outfielder had to go get the ball and this and that. So the rule is to make it easier for the outfielder? No, that's asinine. Just because it doesn't bounce back doesn't mean the outfielder doesn't have to go get it. Sometimes the ball doesn't get wedged in the wall and it stays stuck in the corner and the outfielder has to go get it. He doesn't throw his hands up. Dead ball.
And that's exactly what he did. He didn't waste any time doing that. He ran over there. Once it got stuck, he throws his hands up like, yo, I'm under arrest. This ball isn't coming out. And they called the play the way the rule says, the letter of the law.
It was the right call.
Legitimate, and that's what ended up happening. But, man, it did mess with the flow of the game. But as you said, it doesn't translate over to Game 7 and everything that happened today, all the heroics on both sides of the field today. And that ended up with the Dodgers getting their repeat victory in the World Series. And the way things look core-wise for them, they're losing Clayton Kershaw. They won without him this season. So they're going back into next season, still probably the odds-on favorite. Whatever the Yankees do in the offseason doesn't matter because it seems like those two go back and forth. Money-wise, the Yankees can't seem to get it right with the pitching.
They're going to need a salary cap because in 2 or 3 years when Ellie De La Cruz is a free agent, the Dodgers right? Mookie Betts is ready to retire. Okay, well, we got Ellie De La Cruz now. Come on, man.
Deli's going to break the freaking bank, man. He's going to absolutely destroy the bank by the time he becomes a free agent with the money. Man, it's just a matter of time before someone's getting $1 billion bill, $1 billion contract. Probably, just a matter of time in baseball.
Ohtani got $800 million.
That's what I'm saying. And he got that last season. So just imagine just 3 years from now, because I think he's on Ellie's under contract under their control for 5 seasons, I think it is, 4 or 5 seasons. But anyways, when that dude has everything you need, he's probably already a top 5 player in the league right now. And he's one of those young guys with a bright future. You know the bank is going to get broken when he comes in. And he's not going to be one of those guys, in my opinion, that's going to say, give me $12 million now and $800 million later. He's not going to do it. He's going to be like, yo, I want it all right now. So whoever's trying to finagle and do whatever they're going to do, you might have to have one guy on your team. The other 8, you just got to get them for the minors. What the hell?
But, I talked about Ohtani. We mentioned Yamamoto and Bichette, but you got to give the others on the Dodgers credit. Miguel Rojas,
who wasn't
ties
supposed
the game
to be
in the 9th inning. Yeah. Dave Roberts inserted him into the lineup in Game 6. I don't know what he did. I don't think he did much in Game 6, but he came through tonight for sure. Tied the game in the 9th, and then Will Smith gives them the lead. I don't know if Chris Rock has a problem with it, but
but Jade is happy tonight.
But no, seriously, you think about Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Ohtani, and yeah, they contributed, but they weren't the guys who got it done at the end.
Oh no, and not to forget what Rojas did on the field, saving that run. And it was close because the catcher's foot came off the plate, but it came right back on at the last second. And I think it's still even at home plate when there's a force, the tie still goes to the runner. So that would have been another run they would have gotten. But excellent play by Rojas. All of these unsung heroes throughout the entire playoffs or throughout the entire World Series in particular. But when it came down to who needed what and the stars weren't shining bright like they normally do, you have these role players that put a lid on it, close the door. Now, Yamamoto, I believe he just got the MVP, and rightfully so. So, yeah, not a surprise ending. For his namesake, I'm thinking about from Japanese history, his namesake back in World War II. Surprise, surprise. This is not so much of a surprise for this Yamamoto.
So, yeah, credit to Rojas. He got it done at the plate and in the field. And the Blue Jays had their own play at the plate. That was a nice play by Clement.
Clement.
Clement, yep. Or I'm thinking of a Kmet from the Bears. Yeah, he get
Clement.
tight end. But anyway, yeah.
Going in a whole different sport. We got to talk about that on Monday.
Even though I wanted the Blue Jays to win, I was so glad the catcher got his foot back down, because that would have been the most anticlimactic ending in history.
Oh, would it?
The players come off the field, the Blue Jays going on the field and like, hey, we won, or what? We won. I'm glad it didn't end like that. It would have just been so anticlimactic.
Well, now baseball is officially over. The hot stove is right around the corner. Now what? We look forward to next season, of course, but it is like this, a 7-game World Series. The Toronto Blue Jays looking to win their first World Series since Joe Carter hit his home run back in 1993. Couldn't pull it off, but they still have that young, because just not too long ago, I was hearing the rumors, and I don't even think it was just me hearing rumors as a Yankee fan. Vlad Guerrero possibly coming to the Yankees. The Toronto Blue Jays put a stop to that.
Like that.
They've been playing they've been paying that money out. But when I'm talking about the way these teams aren't paying the money, we're talking the Yankees and the Dodgers, and that's pretty much it on that stratospheric level. And then you have other people that are paying money that's high for all accounts except for theirs. And Toronto just happens to be one of them. They got this core together where they may be back in who else they pick up in free agency if they can handle that. Same thing. But like you said, I'm wondering what's next for these Dodgers. How are they able to finagle and maneuver their way around the salary cap? There is no salary cap, but just maneuver their way around with deferred money and Yamamoto. Ohtani did that because Yamamoto was his compatriot over there in Japan. So he decided to, I'll take that for him. He might not do it for someone else, though.
Yeah. And before we get out of here, I just got to say, I got so much respect for George Springer. That dude is a dog, man.
He was beaten up.
He has an oblique injury.
No.
Every time he swings, he's in pain. He gets hit in the knee. He's hobbling out there. But he was still getting base hits. He was a factor, even though he was hampered. It's just too bad for him and the Blue Jays. He didn't get the big hit.
Yeah.
But in Game 6, he was on deck. You cannot get doubled off in that situation. I can't remember who was on second base. Was it Barger? He was the one that hit the ball. You can't get doubled off. Come on, man. Anybody that even played Little League, if you play Little League, middle school, high school, you cannot get doubled off in that situation. And he got doubled off, and Springer was left holding his bat. Who knows what? I would have loved to have seen him. I don't know if he would have came through, but I would have loved to have seen it.
And you think about those names, Springer and Goldschmidt always come to mind when I talk about players that have been underrated almost their entire career, but you see the numbers and you know that they've been doing some great things, just haven't really been on great teams that give them the opportunity to do it on a grand scale. But now, well, once again, it all begins and ends with the Dodgers. They were expected to win the World Series coming into this season, and they end up doing what they were supposed to do, but they didn't do it easily. And Toronto was able to kind of try to slow them down. They got to a point to where they could slow them down. But I'm not even going to mention the money. It's the players. The players went out there and done it. And it worked out for them. And let's see what goes on next season. A three-peat like the Yankees did do when they did their back-to-back-to-back. A very great possibility based on the payroll, based on the talent. Losing Kershaw doesn't mean anything. He's like the Queen Elizabeth. He's just a status. He's just a figurehead. That's it. But anyways, we got it going on. And I guess we'll talk about it a little bit more on Monday because I know that they can drum up a few more storylines, even though we've already seen the game. We probably talked about it a little. We'll see what goes on in between.
I don't know. Just real quick, the other day I said I didn't have much basketball to talk. I thought of a couple things. Jordan talking about what is load management. I'm with them 100%. You play 2.5, 3 hours a day, and now they don't play back-to-backs and all that. But try not to be too negative, but why is Jaylen Brown's hair coming off on the player's uniform?
I've been seeing that.
Oh, dude, he was trying to make a move. He put his head down, his head rubbed on the player's jersey, and there was a black streak. Like, yo, his hair came off. Yo, what are you doing, Jaylen Brown? Man, let it go. Let it go, bro. Come on.
He's not just the president; he's also a client.
Anyway, congratulations to the Dodgers. You bought another World Series. Good for you.
Well, you think this is
but winning two games on the road when you're down 3-2, I don't care how much money you pay. That's
that's all just grit and toughness and being able to do it. Because I've seen those big money guys, Aaron Judge, not get it done. We've seen Dave Winfield in the past not get it done. And so we see a team that finally puts it together that does get it done when the paycheck says it should get done. So he's biased. I'm Trav and the Sports Back Bros podcast, special edition of the World Series. The two-time back-to-back champions, Los Angeles Dodgers, take on the Toronto Blue Jays and beat them 4-3 in the World Series. 2025 is over.
Best two words in sports, Game 7.
Game 7. And we'll have our Game 7 on Monday. We'll be talking a little bit of NFL. We might even go back to a little baseball as well. But
probably
until
not,
then,
but anyway.
Deuces.
Peace.